and this year's Startup Week is a little bit different than in past years, you might have noticed. So we're adapting through a 100% digital event with the theme of service to community. And this session will be recorded and uploaded to YouTube for reference in the future. But you are here live right now, and I would definitely encourage you to interact through the chat window. We also have a Q&A module. And before we get started, I'd like to give a quick shout out to our sponsors. So many thanks to Techstars, Honey, Name.com, Downtown Boulder Partnership, and CU for their sponsorship of Boulder Startup Week. Without them, this would not be possible. And now I'll hand things over to Greg. So Greg is the founder of Gloss and has a lot of great things to share with you today. So I hope you're excited. Get ready to interact and take it away, Greg.
Okay, thank you, Ben, and thank you, Boulder Startup Week. I will share my screen, and I asked a question to start things off, and I will touch on that question as you will see in a moment. Just getting on the screen, correct screen right now. The question is, why do you do what you do in your profession, your career, your business? And the answer should not include things related to I need to make money, I need to support my family. Those are worthy pursuits, but just go a little bit deeper than that. And you'll see I will touch on that as we go through the presentation. So my name is Greg Shankin, CEO and founder of Gloss. We're a digital marketing agency, web development company based in Boulder. And I'll start with why I do what I do. And that is because I'm passionate about helping businesses reach their full potential, however that can be. Obviously, in our case, that is through a variety of web development and digital marketing services. But really, the higher level answer is I'm passionate about doing that. And so you'll see as we go through why I even started the presentation this way. Here's my contact info. I'll show it at the end as well. Anyone who wants these slides and some of the other material I'm sharing, you can email me and I'm happy to make those available to you. So super quick, these are some of the services we provide. You can read them: digital marketing, SEO, reputation management, so on and so forth. And that's all I'm going to say about what we do, because I'm here to talk about you. And this is a saying I saw not too long ago and it really resonated. Nobody cares about your products except you. So while I could sit here and talk about all the things we do, that's not the purpose. I'm here to talk about you, and that's the mindset that really feeds into this discussion, which is your website, how it's such an integral part of your brand, and things that you may be doing correctly or incorrectly that may be hurting your brand and getting in the way of your passion and why you do what you do. So you'll see this come back as I go through this. And I always start this discussion by talking about empathy. And sometimes if it's in a live setting, I see some glassy eyes, what the heck is that about? We're here to learn about websites. And this again gets kind of back to my core question. Why do you do what you do? And you do what you do, and I've, some of the answers that came through when I asked that question really speak to that. Passion, helping others, helping kids, using technology to help. And this is where empathy comes in. I really want you to think about that as we go through this, and you'll see how it relates to this discussion of your website and things that you may be doing or not doing that get in the way of your core mission, whatever that passion is, whatever that desire is to help and help the world with your unique skills and abilities. And so I'm just going to put up some questions here, and some of them think about the offline world, and then you'll see how I kind of connect them to online, right? So you might not have a store, but you have an office, right? So not all of these will apply to every single one of you based on your business, but these are questions that probably the answer is yes to when you think about your offline presence. You try to keep your store, and that could be an office, clean. Do you try to minimize wait times? Do you make customers feel secure? Do you make it easy to do business with you? and you want your brand to reflect your business, your values, and your benefits? Hopefully the answer is yes to all of those. So kind of hold these questions, hold that initial question in your mind of why you do what you do. And again, that's kind of the backdrop for this whole discussion. Also with empathy, why should your customer care? So we first talked about why should you care about these things? Why should your customer care? Will I feel safe? Why should I invest my time listening to you? And how will you solve my problem and make my life better? WIIFM. Some of you have probably seen that before. It stands for what's in it for me. And that just speaks directly to the benefits. And again, back to that question, why you're doing what you're doing. It's obviously to help, right? And to serve. And of course, in that process, you're generating revenue. And yes, that pays the bills and that helps you go on vacation and go out to dinner. And that's great. But it really starts with empathy. And really people only care about themselves, right? And I don't say that in a cynical way. Of course, we care about others, but when they're at your website, at your store, they're there for a reason, right? To make themselves happier, sexier, younger, wealthier, more attractive to a mate, whatever the case may be. And so just keep that in mind as we go through this. And again, it'll really serve to hopefully resonate with you and you can walk away with some actionable steps. And I want to make that clear. This is not all touchy-feely, right? It's how you're going to walk away with some actionable steps that you can do almost immediately. Some of them zero cost, very low cost, and you can do them immediately. So let's get into it. Why should your customer care? So here's just an example of an ad, okay? Best music studio in Boulder, trained professionals. Now put yourself in the consumer's shoes. Do you care that they think they are the best music studio in Boulder? Maybe they are, maybe they're not, but first of all, if you don't know them, you probably, that's not going to sway you, right? Trained professionals. Okay, that's nice. Are there studios that don't have trained professionals, right? So now I'll get into some other ways to think about this, again, with those questions of the backdrop and empathy and what's in it for me and how your business and brand can help people. And some of these would depend on what your market is, but here we're talking about a music studio. Play music like a rock star, even if you've never picked up an instrument, right? Does that speak to you more? Especially if you're an adult, you always wanted to be a rock star and oh wow, I don't think I could do that. And that's another thing. You're speaking to a need and a concern, right? I don't know if I could do that. Well, wow, even if you've never picked up an instrument. How about this? Learn how to play campfire guitar songs before your next trip, right? Especially as an adult, we probably can't be rock stars at this point, but wouldn't it be fun to be able to just sit by the campfire with your friends and play some sing-along songs? Most are pretty easy when you have the right teacher. And it's actually true. I'm a hack guitarist, but most, kind of basic rock folk songs are pretty easy. 3, 4, 5 chords, and you actually can be playing that stuff around a campfire if you have the right teacher. And then this would be if you're trying to speak to a parent who wants lessons for their child. Yes, your child can master violin without harassing them to practice. So if I'm a parent, I want my kid to play violin, but I don't want that to be another burden for me, right? And pestering them, harassing them. So I actually made these up, I think about an hour ago. And it's empathy, right? Thinking about the parent, thinking about the kid, thinking about the concerns of that potential consumer, right? And the answers I received from you speak to that. So again, nobody cares about your products except you. They care about themselves and benefits. So with that, I'll get into the core topic here, 5 reasons why your website is scaring away your best customers. Now, even just look at that title. I could have said, we could have called this how to make your website great, or enhance your website for better results. Those are both decent headlines, but they're, if you look at this, I'm not saying that this is going to be the best seminar in Boulder Startup Week, or I'm the best, or Gloss is the best. You're here because I'm thinking about you, and now you can think about these things. And it's very emotion based. I mean, literally scaring away your best customers, which is this little, I love this graphic. You know, these things, which I call revenue leaks, are what you need to think about, and you need to plug up these revenue leaks. And before we get into it, you know, think about your core product or service, how much it costs. If you're a hair salon, maybe that's $50. If you're a realtor, maybe that's $1 million. If you're a surgeon, maybe that's $10,000. If you're an auto repair shop, maybe that's $500. And just think of those numbers and think of losing 1 out of 100, 2 out of 100, 1 out of 50 consumers or possible customers that come to your website from these revenue leaks. So you know your numbers, figure that out. You can actually put a dollar value on revenue leaks. Of course, it's not going to be perfect, but you can make some assumptions. And even if you're just making up some very conservative numbers in your head, do the math. You'll see when you plug up these revenue leaks, your revenue will increase, period. So revenue leak number 1, are you going to make me wait? Do you make people wait at your store? Hopefully not. If you have lines going down the block, what would you do? You probably hire more people, right? Maybe open up a second store. So now apply this to a website. Do you want people coming to your website to wait? And of course the answer is no, but have you taken action to even check if your website's slow? And this puts real numbers behind it. So what this is basically saying is that every additional 1 second in page load time, you're going to lose about 5 to 10% of additional traffic. Put yourself in the consumer shoes. I guarantee every single person who's on this call or webinar has been on a slow website, right? Everything I'm going to talk about, by the way, yeah, I'm talking to you as a business owner, entrepreneur, or manager who obviously cares about this topic, but just flip it around. Now you're a consumer. So any pain that you've experienced as a consumer in an online experience, now flip it back around. Do you want your customers or prospective customers having that same experience? And I'm sure you'd all say you've been burdened by a slow loading website, okay? And so what you can do, go to Google, type in Google page load speed, and you can put in your URL, and it will just show you a score out of 100, okay? And a lot of the things that you can do to fix that are not very expensive. Depends if you have a developer, you can hire companies to do it. But some of these things, most of the things related to speed don't involve a complete rebuild of your website. These are simple things that if you're not technical, you know, you can hire someone, but we're not talking about expensive stuff here to speed up your site. And, you know, the numbers are the numbers. This is really powerful. This is Amazon. So if you're a hair salon compared to Amazon, we're talking about a different scale, but that doesn't matter. They're at a bigger scale, small business at a lower scale. They calculated that 1 second of page load time would cost 1.6 billion. Google, 0.4 of a second, they could lose 8 million searches per day. So that's obviously huge for them. Now to bring it down to your scale, it's huge for you too, right? Back to empathy. Do you want customers to wait? No, you want to give them a great experience. So check out your website speed, and depending on what resources you have, you can get most of these things fixed pretty quickly. Also, by the way, I know I'm talking fast, I'm going fast because I have a lot to get through, and I want to give as much value as I can. I also want to leave some time for Q&A. Okay, so revenue leak number 2, am I safe? Same thing with your online business. Do you make your customers feel safe? Whatever that means in your particular business. And as it applies to an online experience, about 2 years ago, Google came out with another algorithm change that says if your site is not secure, then when someone hits your website, it's going to say not secure. And you might be saying, well, I don't sell anything online. You know, I'm a realtor, I'm a home builder. Doesn't matter. It didn't used to matter, but now it does. So it doesn't matter if your collecting credit cards, none of that matters anymore. What matters is Google has determined that your site is not secure. This is a very easy thing to fix. It can even be free. So you have to get a security certificate, or SSL, or make your site HTTPS. The S stands for secure. And in most cases, that security certificate can be free. Sometimes it's $25 or $50 or thereabouts, but that's really more if you're doing e-commerce. So if you're not, this is a very, very quick fix, and it's important. And kind of go back to what I said before and go through the numbers. Let's say your site is not secure right now. Will every visitor notice it? No. Will every visitor who notices it care? Maybe not. Will 1 out of 100 notice it and care? Okay. What is that worth to you? You know your numbers. Okay. So this is a really important and quick thing that you can fix. And not only, by the way, do your customers see this not secure, but Google will actually penalize your site from an SEO ranking perspective. So all things being equal, you versus a competitor, their site's secure, yours is not, your site will be ranked lower. Same with page load speed, which I didn't mention in the previous revenue leak. All things equal, you versus a competitor, your site's slower, your site will get penalized. So I always say there's two audiences you're trying to please: your users, and I've been talking a lot about that, but Google and the search engines. And there are other search engines, Bing, Yahoo, but of course we say Google. So that is revenue leak number 2. Do I feel safe? And you might say, well, I have a hair salon, does that matter? Again, maybe not. But if you are a surgeon, well, if your website's not secure, maybe my medical records aren't secure, right? I'm a lawyer, maybe my private information is not secure. So without beating that one to death, I think it's pretty obvious, and it's an easy fix. So go take care of it. Revenue leak number 3, are you credible? Do you have credibility? Again, back to your offline experience. Do you put thought into your brochures, business cards, signs, that type of stuff? So same thing, your website is speaking to your degree of credibility or lack thereof. Okay, so let's get into some specifics. So credibility, this speaks to several things, and I can't even get to all of them in this presentation, but one is online reviews. And so again, as a consumer, just picture yourself on Amazon, reviews matter. They work, they convey credibility, and they will help you get more sales. And there are many places to get online reviews, as I'm sure you know, whether it's Amazon, Yelp. Again, it depends on your business. Yelp is a big one. Google is obviously a big one. And so there are really 3 aspects to that. 1 is getting reviews. 2 is getting good reviews. 3 is minimizing the impact of bad reviews. And so in terms of how to make that all happen, I do recommend for that, unless this is something you're really interested in doing or have a lot of spare time, which who has that? That I do recommend working with a third-party service. Again, this is not a high-cost proposition. You know, we're talking in the hundreds a month, not thousands. And so, you know, 300-400 a month-ish. And so whether that sounds like a lot of money or little, and I understand that everyone's in different situations and budget sensitive, but just go back to your numbers. If managing your online reputation, really as it's called, good reviews, bad reviews, and quantity of reviews, if that can get you another customer per month or quarter or year, does that pay for itself? The answer is usually yes. The biggest challenge with your online reputation is knowing what's happening. What I mean by that is, when does a review come in? If a bad review comes in at 4 a.m. on New Year's Eve, maybe you're on vacation, you might not see it for 2 weeks. And now that is starting to kind of fester through the internet. One thing I will tell you as a best practice, if you see a bad review, and pretty much everyone will get one, whether it's fair or not, whether it's some crazy person doing it or not, it'll probably happen. So you got to know about it. You got to know about it quickly. And the sort of actionable step I'll tell you is when you see it, what you want to do is get that conversation offline. What I mean by that is if they say your store was filthy, don't write back and say, my store was clean. What are you talking about? Don't argue. The main thing you want to do is say, I'm sorry for your negative experience. Please call me, a manager, the owner, and we will do everything we can to alleviate the problem. Get that conversation offline, and then you can alleviate it. Does that mean the person will remove the bad review? Maybe, maybe not, but maybe. And so that also speaks to quantity of reviews, meaning the more good reviews you get, that will start to minimize the impact of the bad reviews. So that's reputation management as a whole, and that speaks to credibility, in this case, online reviews. And then there are some other aspects of credibility, anything you can do to show your work. And again, that might not apply to all businesses. Whether you can show an online portfolio, examples of your work, photos of your work is something that you absolutely can and should do if it makes sense for your business. One thing that makes sense for, I can't think of one business that it wouldn't, maybe a couple of exceptions, testimonials. And they can be written, but the most powerful types of testimonials are video testimonials. I'm sure you've all seen testimonials that say, hey, this is the greatest company ever, John from Idaho. Maybe it's real, maybe it's not. Larger companies like Amazon, they validate and verify those testimonials so you can put more trust in them. But you know, we're not all Amazon here. So the best way to have a credible testimonial is a video testimonial. Is it a pain in the butt to ask for and get? Yep. Is it a favor that your clients will do? Yep. Even when they're thrilled and they say they're happy to do it, do you have to remind them 97 times? Yep. So, but it's worth the effort. It's absolutely worth the effort. I mean, nothing says credibility like someone on a camera saying your business is awesome and here's how it helped me. So I can't recommend that enough. If you can't do that, then written testimonial is fine, but at least try to use a full name if your customer will allow it. Try to include a photo, maybe their logo. You know, anything's better than just a 2 sentence testimonial, from John from Idaho. Okay, so these all speak to credibility. And then just for some comic relief, I always bring these things in. And credibility applies to every part of your business, like I said, and as you know, business cards, brochures, here, signs, Petco, huge company, but by night. So Petco's supplies and fish, but you weren't paying attention to their sign, lies and fish. Not good, right? National Jeweler Exchange. Broken sign, National Jew Exchange. Not good for the brand. Dynasty Buffet, sign is broken, nasty buffet. And then finally, Black Angus Steakhouse. If there's any kids in the room, put on the earmuffs. Black Angus Steakhouse, and you can read that for yourselves. So these are offline signs, but same thing, just apply that to your online business. Do you have a good logo? Does it convey credibility? The color scheme of your site. Again, you are consumers too. You've been on sites that scream credibility and sites that haven't. And it's your job, because you care about your customers, to convey that credibility, because that's how you can serve them. And all the nice answers we've received over chat, that's how you can enhance your ability to do those things, by being credible. Revenue leak number 4. Is it easy to do business with you? So this speaks to a couple things, and everything I'm talking about there goes deeper than what I'm talking about. But again, my goal is to help you think about these things and help you take some actions on these things. Is it easy to do business with you? So the first piece of that is, can you be found? And that's super important. If you can't be found, then it's impossible to do business with you. So obviously, you know this as a consumer. Again, you type a search into Google and you're going to get search results. There are several sections to those results. Some are paid ads, pay per click. and that's something you can certainly consider. I won't call that a revenue leak because that's yeah, I take that back. It's a revenue leak if you create an ad that doesn't achieve the things I'm talking about, like the sample ads I showed for music lessons. So if you create a bad ad, you're not going to get good activity on it. But if you're not doing paid advertising, then you need to take certain actions to make sure Google is ranking you in the best possible light. And of course, where you want to be is page 1, and you ideally want to be number 1. Is it easy to do that? Depends on your business, depends on the keywords. Again, that's a much deeper discussion. In terms of cost, that can be in the thousands, that can be in the hundreds, that can be do it yourself. But there are some simple things you can do right away to help yourself. So this answer here, and I purposely picked places way out of Boulder to not to protect the innocent. So violin lessons. So these are Google Maps results. And you probably know this as a consumer, but Google only shows the top 3 in Google Maps. Yes, then you can click more places and see more. Do people do that? Sometimes. Do they sometimes not do it? Yep. And so do you want to be here in the top 3, or do you want to be here? And so again, this may not be a DIY solution for you, but there are some things you can do right away. And the first one is, if you have an address, put it on your website. Google Maps will not and cannot rank you if they don't know where your business is located, right? So again, you might have constraints there. Maybe you work from home, but there are ways to get street addresses. And so you can explore those things. Even PO boxes can be used, not necessarily a post office PO box, but there are, you know, mailbox locations. So you can generally get around this with solutions like that. Or if you have an office, put that address down, because Google doesn't know where you are unless you do that. The great thing about Google Maps, if you're a local business, is that you are only competing with other local businesses. So going to the next slide here. So that's the bottom of the Google Maps location, right? Previous slide showed the top 3. This is regular organic search results, just kind of the rest of the stuff you see on the left side of your browser underneath the Google Maps. So this company here has done a great job because they are listed at the top. That's awesome. But the great thing about Google Maps is you don't have to compete against national, global companies that have advertising budgets that you will never have. Yelp, right? So you're not competing with Yelp. Google will never put Yelp in a Google Maps result because it's not a local company. So even if you're saying to yourself, wow, SEO seems overwhelming, or I don't know how to do that, you can get ranked in Google Maps. So definitely make that happen. And that's under, is it easy to do business with you? Second part of that, of many, but we'll talk about these, is it easy to do business with you online once a customer reaches your site? Do you accept credit cards? Great. Do you not? Add it. If you don't know how to do that, go to stripe.com. It's pretty easy to set up an account. It's free, and it's pretty easy to get set up with e-commerce. I'd say pretty easy. Depends, you know, if you're adding 2,000 products online, that's a whole different story. But if it's a matter of just enabling online payments, Stripe is a great solution. Not the only one, but a good, easy, seamless one. And offer PayPal. I've been doing this a long time, and it's really interesting. I hear comments like, I will never do make a purchase with PayPal. And then I've heard, I will only do purchase with PayPal. So doesn't it make sense to also offer PayPal on your site? What about ACH payments? Of course, you can ask people to send you a check. Is it more of a pain in the butt? I'm sure anyone who does that knows, right? It's not trackable. It's harder to chase around. And why is that? Because it's harder for your customer to whip out a checkbook, write it out, or print it out, put it in an envelope. And so The resource I'll give there is actually one we started using recently. It's called veeam.com, V as in Victor, EEM.com. And you can set up free ACH payments. It doesn't cost you a penny unless it's international, but national doesn't cost you a penny to start accepting ACH payments. It's a one-time setup for your client. They enter their business name, account number, ACH number, and it's pretty seamless from there. So definitely consider doing that. PayPal, online payments. Okay, so I want to kind of do a couple of case studies that bring some of these pieces together, and I'm glancing down because I want to finish everything. So this speaks to your branding, which I've touched on before, whether it's the quality of your logo, et cetera. And you can see that this company is blurred out here. So everyone in your mind, try to guess what kind of business this is. Restoring the rhythm of your life. I mean, that's pretty powerful, right? Is that a rhythm? Is that a music teacher? Is it a self-help psychologist? The reason this stuck out when I saw this, because I've used this company, is I was really impressed that they came with this USP, tagline, slogan, whatever you want to call it. What this is a collision company. Now they happen to be national, so they probably have great, budgets for advertising, marketing, sales copy. But think about when you have the need for, auto repair, right? There's nothing fun. There's literally nothing positive about it, right? It's a pain in the butt. It costs money. It's inconvenient. There's nothing that makes you happy about it. So what they did is they came up with this, restoring the rhythm of your life. Think about that, right? When you have a car repair need, it's taking you out of that rhythm, right? It's just the last thing you want to do. And so this, speaks to credibility, benefits, what's in it for me. And now I'll show another company, and I blurred out stuff. But this is their homepage. And first of all, it's, and if you look at this online, and I wouldn't share the URL here, but, you can see this blends into the background. I mean, even to just compare the branding and the color scheme. And it says, strives to serve their customers like true friends, complete transparency, intake to delivery. So the second line is pretty good, complete transparency, okay? Strive to serve their customers like true friends. I always kind of get really blown away when businesses refer to themselves in the third person, right? We strive to serve you. At least say our customers, but we will treat you like a true friend. And that's just a sales copy tip, and that could be a whole discussion, but use the word you. Why? Because people care about themselves. So they are the you here. Complete transparency from intake to delivery. Okay, it doesn't really speak to me the same way that restoring the rhythm of your life does. Let's go a little deeper into this one. So then you go to their page to schedule an appointment, and you have this form here. This form doesn't look too bad, but that's not the whole form. You got to fill out all this information, and then you got to fill out this information. Okay, and this speaks to, is it easy to do business with you? If you are collecting data online or asking people to engage online, make it as easy and simple as possible and collect only the information that you need. And so does this company, and the answer might be yes. If you're a mortgage broker, yes, you need a ton of information. If you're just asking someone to opt in to get a free PDF, you only need their email address. Maybe you want their first name so you can call them their first name in your email correspondence. But do I need your last name to schedule an appointment? Maybe, maybe not. It's just a bunch of other information here. Choose your date and time. So, would you like a loaner vehicle? It all might be good, but is it all necessary? And is it all necessary on one form? So this is 2 slides here, but it's actually one form. And everyone on the call, I'm sure, has been to a page with a long form, and it's overwhelming. And what do you want to do? You want to leave. You want to get out of there. So 2 things. 1, determine the minimum amount you need. 2, make it easy and visually appealing, and consider doing what's called a step-by-step. Oh, one more thing on this company. So then I went to exit the page and I got this pop-up. Some people hate pop-ups, I get it. As a marketer, if they work and they deliver results and you do it in a respectful way with empathy, then nothing wrong with pop-ups. The reason I brought this here is now to subscribe to our text messages. Cool, that's a good thing. Do I need your last name to be on your text list, your phone, your vehicle? Maybe. I don't think they need all this information unless there's a compelling reason that you need it. So whatever it is, just put thought into how you want to go about that. And then it says, I would like to be the first to receive special offers from their text message. Again, they. And then buttons here, that's another place to sell or convince or engage. So submit, you know, what if instead of submit, it said, get great deals, you know, save money on your auto repair. So a lot of people ignore the buttons because it's kind of an afterthought. That's sales copy right there. Okay, so think about that as you're going through your direct response stuff on your site. So this actually is what Calibers is. So they ask for all this info and maybe they feel they need it, but this is called a step-by-step form. And so you click next. So they might be asking for more information, but at least this huge overwhelming form is not staring me in the face as a user. And if I have time, I'll show a step-by-step form, but I'm sure you've seen them. You enter your first name, click next, last name, click next, and even a progress bar at the top that tells you how much you've completed and how much you have left. I guarantee if you implement step-by-step forms, excuse me, versus just one page with a big form, your results will increase. Okay, and I lied, it's not 5 reasons, it's 6, but this is kind of an umbrella. Everything I'm talking about here, your customers, prospects, clients have to be able to do on mobile just as easily and seamlessly as on desktop, laptop, tablet, or at least as much as a mobile device can offer. There's certain things you just can't do on a mobile, cool, but you have to be thinking about mobile for your users and for Google. If your site is not mobile friendly, again, your users will punish you and Google will penalize you. They will place you below your mobile friendly competitors. So if you go to Google and Google mobile friendly test and put in your URL, it will tell you if your site is mobile friendly or not. Of all these revenue leaks, this would be the most expensive to fix because you need to rebuild your site, plain and simple. So that is whatever it is. And that can range in the thousands to tens of thousands depending on your business. But you have to do it. You just have to do it, or else you're just not in this game. You really don't have. You have a shell of an online presence if your site is not mobile friendly. And so getting pretty short on time, so I'm going to go through this quick and then see what kind of questions we have here. So I see one about CBD hemp, and actually we know that space really well. So I'm just going to go through this stuff really quick because this speaks to COVID. So the first thing here is fix these revenue leaks. And we do website audits that look like this. This is a very customized one where we would go through your site and give you very specific recommendations. That's actually a short one, but we go through each page and it really speaks to a lot of the stuff I'm talking about. And we're happy to do this for anyone on the call. This is a customized website audit. This is a more automated one, but it provides really excellent information. It basically grades your site in all of these areas compared to your competitors. It really shows you some powerful information about revenue leaks in your social and your business listings. So somehow, some way, you have to audit your website. You need to take these recommendations, hopefully, and figure out where those revenue leaks are and do the math. Figure out what it's worth to you to actually fix them. But of every single one I've said, many of them are, sub $1,000. And you know what that's worth to you. Okay, so if your site is up right now, if your business is up, if your business is down, do that. Okay, you hopefully have time to do it. And then you can do some other things too. If you have products that can be sold online, add e-commerce. We could do a whole seminar on e-commerce, but so it's a very broad statement, but add e-commerce if you possibly can. Look at your product line. Can you cross-sell? Can you upsell? Go back to your customer base. What other value can you give them based on your empathy and your passion? Mine LinkedIn. When I say mine, go through your LinkedIn first level connections. There's probably some on there that could be good prospects, good customers. You haven't talked to them in a while, or maybe you've never even met them. But go through your LinkedIn and find opportunities, mine opportunities. And then that's kind of some great stuff you can do on the business side. And this is a little more of the warm and fuzzy, but give, listen, learn, and discover. So give, reach out to the community, do things like this. Whatever you can give, it's going to come back. So again, these are broad brush strokes here, but think how you can enhance your community, enhance your customer base with whatever it is, webinars, tips and tactics, strategies that maybe you haven't had time to do, or maybe you've never done. Do it now. And when I say listen, again, very broad, but listen to the market, look for opportunities. There are already businesses that are spotting opportunities and taking advantage of them. I saw one on the news last week. It's a nonprofit, but in New York City, they're doing delivery services to elderly people who can't get out. And obviously that didn't exist 6 months ago. So that's just kind of an example that I saw. Learn and discover. And what I mean by that is educate yourself. Again, you might be home doing nothing right now, or maybe you're super busy with your business, but take the time to see what's out there. There is a ton of information out there that can help your business. So learn, take this opportunity to do that. And so with that, that's what I got. I will look at the questions now, but here's my information. Feel free to email me if you want the website, anything with the website audit, or you have additional questions that we can't get to, and I'm happy to share the presentation material here. And now I will answer the questions, or Ben, I don't know if you want to step in, make any comments, but I see one question here. What are the top keywords and descriptions for CBD and hemp? So we know that space very well. It's actually our biggest vertical. It's a deeper conversation. What kind of products are we talking about? We're talking to a company that sells hemp cigarettes, and we're talking to a company that's building a payments platform for hemp. Very different companies, very different keywords. So I can't answer that in this type of a discussion without knowing more, but there are answers to it, and scientific answers too, where you can get the data behind it and really find. With SEO keywords, you're looking for a cross section or an intersection of highly trafficked, but also words that you can reasonably compete on. So if you said, hey, I want to rank for car insurance, I'd say, forget it. Unless you made it something more unique, Boulder Car Insurance, North Boulder Car Insurance, for example. But car insurance, you're going to be competing with Geico, right? Can't do it. So deeper discussion that I'd be happy to answer. And I think that's the only Q&A. Let me see on the chat here, something. Oh wait, let's see chat. Oh, 21 came through on the chat. So lots of questions. So Ben, I'm happy to go through these, as many as I can. You tell me if we need to kind of bring it to a close, but I'm happy to do Q&A.
Yeah, let's go for another 5 minutes or so.
Cool. Okay.
And obviously for folks who need to leave, you can leave. But if you want to send those questions through the chat or through the Q&A module, happy to answer those now.
Okay. Let's see here. I can see slides, all good. Oh, I'm sorry. Some people have said they heard some noise issues. I'm actually using a professional mic. My son is a musician, and we tested it beforehand, so hopefully it wasn't too distracting. My apologies. Tapping on the mic, so I'm sorry about that if it's distracting. Okay. What are some of your favorite tools to use for SEO, site speed, and otherwise? So yeah, that's a great question. So site speed, there's one called GTmetrix, but also you can just go to Google and type Google Site Speed Test, and it will give you the link. It's a big long link. Click on it, add your URL, and you'll be good to go. Same with mobile friendly, Google mobile friendly test, and you can get the answers to that. SEO, lots of tools out there, Ahrefs, Screaming Frog. There are a bunch. Again, it kind of depends on what the context is. Are you an agency doing this for clients? Are you doing it for yourself? There are a lot of free tools out there. If you email me about that, I can put together a more focused list of those tools. And okay. Feel free to add or to ask any other questions. Screen issues, slides.
Yeah, maybe also interesting. Is there any example that comes to mind? I know that you you shared a few for some of the revenue leaks. Anything, maybe especially recently after something like the COVID crisis hit, some changes that folks have made, either some of your the folks that you work with or that you know around website space. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that kind of fed into what I was sharing previously. So one of my clients, actually, it's not a cannabis company, it's a head shop, and they're suffering because cannabis and CBD is doing great, especially cannabis. Head shop, they don't sell cannabis or CBD, they sell products related to that, and so not only are they considered non-essential, but it's just not as in high demand as actual CBD and cannabis. So one of my clients, and they're in Wisconsin, they added e-commerce. I mean, plain and simple. They've never done e-commerce, and they added it. I don't want to tell you results yet because it literally just went up last week. But this COVID-19 challenge, problem, disaster, created that need to do something. Now they added e-commerce, and they're going to emerge stronger. When the store opens back up, now they have their store and e-commerce. That would be the most specific one I can think of across my customer base. And then I would just say, just really going back to some of the things I mentioned before, take this time to really examine your business, your brand, your website, hopefully taking some of these action items and plenty of other ones. And again, I really tried to focus on ones that are quick, easy, and low cost for the most part. If your site's not mobile friendly, no way around that. You got to rebuild it. But how many of you have gone through your LinkedIn just to, just go through that list and network, reach out, touch base, offer to help, right? How can I help you and your business during this COVID-19? So it's just a matter of, creating engagement. Is it a silver bullet? No. Will it make your whole business turn around in a heartbeat? Maybe. Maybe not, but take action. And so again, broad statements, but hopefully some of the specifics I gave you will help. And also what I ended with, really, give, discover, learn and discover, right? Educate yourself. If you don't know what SEO means, learn what it is. You don't have to be an expert in it, but learn what it's all about, and just look at your business and how you can attack these revenue leaks and other ones. If there's any more here. Okay. I think that's it for Q&A. So I'm all good unless anyone else has any other questions. Hopefully,
maybe we can end it on the slide with your contact info.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Sorry for any audio issues. I did do quite a bit of testing before this, but this is some of the issues we're all facing here. Thank you.
We'll just roll with it. It's all good. Yeah, this is a little different than most Boulder Startup Weeks, but yeah, really appreciate you taking the time to go through this. I think whether you've been in this space or not, having that reminder about speed, security, credibility, all those things that you talked about, all of that has been important for a long time, is still very important. And some of that has changed with some of the tools like you've mentioned or some of the trends. But yeah, this was great. So thank you so much for doing this, and also bringing into the conversation some of those changes that we've seen more recently in the past few months because I know everyone here is adapting in their own way. So yeah, thanks again. Really appreciate you taking the time, Greg, and thank you everyone who joined the session. And then we had some good insight and questions.
Yep. Thank you too, Ben. Thanks, Boulder Startup Week, and go forth and plug up your revenue leaks. Go forth and prosper. So thanks,
Awesome.
everyone. I appreciate it.
Take care.